Hello, welcome. Can see a few people.
Yes, filling up slowly.
Just give it a couple of minutes to fill up. Oh, it's lovely to see so many people here. Welcome. And maybe you might like to put in the chat where you're sitting today. And we're in London. It's raining outside. Yeah, say a quick hello. Hello in London. Great to see you. Oh wow!
Oh, wow. Quite a way. Another Lorna from London. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's really interesting to see where everybody's from. That there's so many international participants as well.
Yeah, it's great to have you here with us. Thanks very much for joining. Just give it one more minute, I reckon, and then we can see. I'm actually going to just put a link in the chat before we start for a little word cloud, because we would love to have your initial thoughts on the question on the screen. So what your associations with virtual projects are, what things you associate with those projects are, and what your expectations are for what might be covered in the session today. If you'd like to follow the link and start typing in a few answers, that would be wonderful. Great. I think we've got a lovely group of participants. It's great you can join us. I think we should start, Simona. What do you think?
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lorna.
I'll share my screen. So yes, we're going to be talking today about developing linguistic and vocational skills and promoting cultural awareness through virtual reality projects and activities that we've been doing here at the Goethe Institute London. My name is Lorna Price, and I've been working since the start of 2020 in the Department of Educational Links at the Goethe Institute London, and I'm here with my colleague Simona. I don't know if you want to say a quick hello.
Yeah, thank you very much for introducing me, Lorna. My name is Simone Pliegel. I've started my role here at the Goethe Institute in London in 2018, and I'm involved with the PASH schools in the UK and also the region of Northwest Europe. So we're doing lots of activities in the areas of STEM for those schools. And yeah, we will present some of those that we did during the pandemic and had to move them online. So I will hand over again to Lorna for the start of our talk.
So yeah, we've been presented with quite a number of challenges in the last couple of years. So my job, so I started in 2020, and I work primarily with young people and motivating them to learn the German language. And when I first started at the Goethe Institute London, we had quite a number of projects that took place on site in Germany. So some brilliant exchange projects, but obviously because of the current challenges with the pandemic, it was no longer possible to carry those out online in person. So we decided to switch them to an online format. And I think it's fair to say, Simona, that when we first started these projects, we weren't quite sure how it would look or what the results would be, but we've been absolutely delighted with the response and the engagement that we've had from young people since starting these programs. We also faced challenges in the past with issues to do with access and accessibility to programs which take place in Germany. So obviously there's a financial limit of the resources available, but also, the reach and the number of students that can be involved in a project is ultimately limited when you're offering on-site options in Germany. So we found that developing online projects has actually had some really positive effects for the projects that we work on. It's resulted in more sustainable projects, but also projects which allow more young people across the UK to engage with our work. So we've kind of been saying that crisis breeds creativity, and we've had a lot of positive responses to the challenges over the last couple of years. And in general, it's very, very difficult to replace the experience of going abroad and that experience of on-site immersive language learning. But we found a number of creative solutions which offer viable and worthwhile alternatives to those programs which have been taking place on site. And we're going to give you an overview today of the main projects that we've been involved with. So we've got quite a nice selection of projects, and hopefully you'll feel inspired to implement some of these solutions in your own work. So the first solutions we want to talk about, we'll go over them in a little bit more detail in a little while, were online work experience weeks for youth mobility. Now, this came as an alternative project for an exchange that was happening in Germany. And we've had three different solutions to this project. So the first was a podcasting project, which ran in 2020 to 2021. And the second was a film project, training young people to create short films that ran this October half term just gone. And then a digital health project, which Simona will talk a little bit more about later. And we also have some very exciting virtual reality projects, don't we, Simona?
Yeah, thank you for handing over to me again, Lorna. So yeah, we have these virtual reality projects in the making. They're actually almost ready to be launched. So they should be ready at the end of the year. The first one is a project about German and STEM. So this involves a laboratory in the chemistry and physics classroom. So students will get a very hands-on approach to STEM and German. And the other one is connected somehow to the work experience week. So we try to simulate, because at the moment it's quite difficult to send students over to Germany to do work experience, just what we did with Mercedes, for example, in Germany. So we were trying to simulate that in a VR project, and we have different modules with German-speaking companies in the UK and other countries, for example, Sweden or Denmark or Iceland. And yeah, we will show you a sample later of how this looks like in virtual reality. Yeah, quite exciting.
Yeah, we're really excited about these projects that we've had as an alternative. And so broadly speaking, when we were faced with the challenge of creating online alternatives to work experience, which takes place in Germany, we had the following aims in mind. So we wanted to create an immersive experience of a German language working environment. So we wanted to give the young people a chance to really experience the language firsthand. And it's very difficult to recreate that experience of being in Germany, but we wanted something that was pretty close to what they would experience on site. A secondary aim was obviously language acquisition and the acquisition of vocational hard and soft skills through project-specific training. So Simona and I formed part of a project team at the Goethe Institute in London, and we were really keen that young people gain an experience of working in a similar environment. And also we found that, so the feedback we have from young people was that they've been finding the last couple of years quite isolating. So we really wanted to offer opportunities for team building and connecting young people to one another, because we work in motivating young groups of people, but often the students are their best kind of team motivators when you have them side by side working on a project. So that's been really positive. And we also wanted to establish lasting connections with Germany and the German language. So motivating young people to want to continue with their studies of German, but also building a lasting connection with Germany, and obviously hopefully creating a motivating factor for them to go over to Germany perhaps at a later date. And we also, another thing that was quite difficult to recreate, but one that I think we successfully did, was opportunities to network with a wide range of professionals from German-speaking companies through the engagement of guest speakers over the course of the projects and that kind of thing. So yeah, so the first project I wanted to talk to you about was the inaugural online work experience week, which we had in place of our, it's actually an exchange that that goes to Schwäbisch Hall in Germany in October half term. It's been a really popular project. So just before COVID, we launched our applications for that week, and we had over 200 applications for the 20 places. So it was a much loved project. So it's quite a challenge to create something that would be a viable alternative and that would also be well received by the young people. So we had our first work experience week in October 2020. And we had hoped that by that point we would be able to go back and forth, but that wasn't to be. So we came up with a podcasting project. So we had some feedback from young people that what they would really like from us was a podcast by German learners for German learners. So 20 students initially were offered the opportunity to be part of the founding project team for this podcast. And they were split into teams for 3 new episodes of a podcast. And also we had a marketing team as well who are trained in marketing strategy. You can see this wonderful design below that says Sag's mir. So they came up with the title, the advertising text, the graphics. They had a workshop with a graphic designer. And it was a really fantastic program of events over the course of a week, all online, all in German. So they had about 6 hours of language contact a day, which is quite a lot, a long time to be sat online. And, the young people that we worked with were absolutely brilliant, so dedicated, and they had this fantastic week of work experience with us. And that project was so successful with the initial group of 20 students that we then repeated the project a further 3 times, each with a group of 12 students. So we had initially 12 on a production team and then 8 in a marketing team. And then we had 3 further groups of 12 in a production team, creating, I think in total, 12 episodes of a podcast, which was really fab. So that podcast actually explores careers in German in combination with other subjects. So from anything to STEM, to music, art, pretty much anything we tried to cover. And you got a week-long training in podcasting, an insight into the editing. You can see it on the screen there. And an insight into how to interview. And at the end of the week, they interviewed specialists from the field. So again, we were really able to recreate that immersive experience and contact with young people and also professionals in the field. So that was a really, really wonderful project. We very much enjoyed running that. And following the success of the podcasting project, we then decided that film was a topic that had been particularly well received by the young people. It was actually one of the podcast episodes. And the young people said that they would really, really like to have more insight into that industry. It's a particularly interesting one because it's covered a little bit on the A-level syllabus. It's also quite an interesting topic for young people who are very digitally literate. And also it's a topic that kind of comes more into the mix when you're studying German at university. So I thought this was a good option for us. So this October, we had our first film project online work experience week. So again, the young people, this was 20 young people from across the country who applied specifically for this program. I think we had over 60 applications for the week. So again, a selection process, and they had to sort of do like a job application, which again helps them acquire those skills for use in the workplace. And they worked with us on a project to create short films on the topic of health, which is our focus for this term. And they had week-long training in film analysis. They met with professionals from the field, had a chance to interview a film critic, and we studied a few short films in depth which were made by young people in Germany and had won lots of awards. So it was a very inspiring week. And then the young people were tasked with creating short films in the afternoons. And that was a program that was co-led by a colleague from Goldsmiths University, Dr. Judith Riffizer, who led the training and gave our students a very inspirational week. And so we're looking forward to seeing the results of that week. In December, we'll have a film premiere, which would be a nice opportunity to meet up with young people and again, create a lasting community of German learners. And Simona, we've also got this digital health project.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that's one of the projects that we did with lots of schools across the UK. So we did this in February 2021 with Initiative Junge Forscherinnen and Forscher from Würzburg in Germany. Originally, it was planned to do this workshop on a site, so in one school, and then to invite other schools. But then we had to move this online as well. So all in all, 60 students from across the UK were taking part. And basically, the Initiative Junge Forscherinnen und Forscher did a 2.5-day online workshop where the students participating had, first of all, an introduction to the method of design thinking, and also how to use that in terms of digital health. And then they were working in like mixed groups in different teams about their own product that they were developing, because that's basically the idea behind the method design thinking, to come up with creative solutions for a set problem. So this was brilliant. You can see here on the photo actually the exhibition. So this was another part of the project, that all of the students then distributed or displayed also their products on a virtual exhibition, which was really nice because you can walk around and then have a look at everything. They designed either comics on their products or then some poster displays. So you can just see some of those here. And so this provided a very good opportunity to, first of all, use your knowledge of German as a foreign language. And this was just on the level of A1. So it was really a very beginner's level, and still to come up with creative solutions, to do team working, to be exposed and in touch with German native speakers from a German company, so to say. So all in all, it was a great success, and we are still doing these online workshops, but also moving back towards the physical workshops very, very soon. So we will offer these again for selected students. Yes, so that's basically that. And the next part would then be the virtual reality projects that we already talked about. So for the first one, I will pass on to Lorna again. So she will tell you more about the physics and chemistry project, and then we will see a short clip about the one that I had already mentioned before.
Yeah, so we've had this fantastic project combining German and STEM. So a big thing for us at the Goethe Institute at the moment is linking in German with other subjects, and obviously the connection with STEM subjects. So that's science, technology, engineering, and maths. Is self-evident, really, and there's so many companies in Germany that have that connection, and we're really keen to kind of build that link for young people. So we're in the process of developing 3 immersive hands-on experiences through virtual reality, which combine German in 3 modules with biology, chemistry, and physics. And you can see on the right-hand side the prototype of the chemistry experiment, where students are able to physically handle, so through the goggles, different elements from the German periodic table. And we're really hoping that this will help the students to not only build this professional connection, but also build on their existing linguistic knowledge. And virtual reality is a really exciting means for this, particularly because you're in situ. Can help you with your memory and your learning of the language. So it's a very exciting prospect for us. And the idea is that students improve their vocabulary and contextual knowledge of German through virtual immersion. So again, drawing on this element of trying to recreate immersive German experiences where possible, whilst we can't go over to Germany. And we also have another virtual reality project which Simona's been working on.
Yeah, and that's the one I introduced already at the beginning. That's about German and the world of work. So across our region of Northwest Europe, which includes countries like Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, the Netherlands, we have tried to find companies that connect, that represent Germany. So it's big German companies that we're working with, like Siemens Energy UK or Zeiss or Bayer. So really major players in the STEM area, so to say. They also are working on the topics of sustainability and environmental protection. So I think everything connects quite nicely. So very important topics like learning languages, STEM, sustainability in a global context. So there's much more to it than just the German language, actually. But of course, that's our main focus since we're working for the Goethe Institute. So it's connected to different fields. For example, on the screenshot, you can see one part of the Siemens Energy UK version, which is about wind turbines. So the students will work in teams. They will first of all build or assemble a wind turbine themselves, and then they will see how actually by changing the direction of the turbine, how moving different bits and pieces, how the whole setup of the turbine and the production of energy changes. So how everything is interrelated. It will be a quiz-like game, so to say. So they get scores for flying around. I found that particularly interesting. I did some VR before, but this one was new to me. So you get some gadget in your hands and then you can actually just press a button and fly. And it's very interesting to see like the world from above. You will see what that looks like in a second. And it's all guided by a little owl that has some turbine on its head, not in this prototype that we will see yet, but that's the idea. And so this owl is kind of the guide through all of these modules. So it's on a modular basis as well. And then students can have a look at, how wind turbines work, but also, for example, have like other gamified access points to other companies and topics. So yes, I will share my screen and show you this bit. I will move forward, so we won't be able to see everything as it's 12 minutes long. But yes, so this is the first prototype of Siemens Energy UK. I will guide you through it. So basically you start with choosing a specific avatar. So you have like human looking ones, but then also more futuristic ones. And here you can see then the different modules. You click with a beamer, you wait for the different students to arrive, or you could also play in single player mode. Did it stop? No. Yes, and this is like the whole landscape. I think it's quite appealing. So you see the landscape from
Willkommen bei
below.
Siemens Energy. Komm und sei heute unser Praktikant. Ich erkläre dir den Carbon Footprint und zeige dir unsere Windturbinen.
Yes, I will just stop here. So that's the little owl with a like propeller on its head. It will guide you through this whole landscape. So basically at some point you have to grab the gadget and then just fly behind it. And there's also some very nice thing when you start flying, like a little
Dann kannst du auch
trick.
lernen, was es bedeutet, bei Siemens zu arbeiten.
I will just make you see that because I think that's really nice. So now you grab the gadget and you start flying after this little owl through the rings, and then this happens, which I think is really nice and motivating. So whenever you manage to like fly through these rings, you have all these flowers bursting, and then you just follow the owl until the top of this mountain here. Just move a bit forward.
Spur, die jeder Einzelne in der Umwelt
You have a little video here, and you have some setup here in terms of traffic. So you have the cars, you have energy, and so on. So and basically, it's about seeing what kind of carbon footprint you have and how you can change that. So what changes if, for example, you switch lights off in the buildings, if you use a bike instead of a car, and so on. So this is basically the idea here. So that's kind of some input. So I will move forward a bit. And you see what changes, how the carbon footprint of everybody changes. So I think I can go to the next part. Yes, you have some quiz after that, which looks
den
like that.
Carbonfußabdruck zu reduzieren, muss man auf erneuerbare Energie setzen.
Yes, and then you have kind of the synthesis. So you have to be into sustainable energy in order to reduce the carbon footprint. So that's basically what students would learn from this part. And then if we move on to a bit of a tricky part, so again, you're just flying here. And then you're actually about to see how you can assemble the wind turbine. That's quite challenging because it's not so easy to actually fix the different blades to the center of the turbine here.
Wir sind weltweit Nummer 1 bei dem Bau von Windturbinen. Mehr als 29.000 Windturbinen haben wir in mehr als 90 Ländern gebaut.
Yeah, that's a short introduction on
Lass
Siemens.
uns zusammen ein Windrad basteln. Auf dem Tisch sind alle Elemente. Greif ein Element mit der vorderen Triggertaste und lass den Trigger los, wenn es auf der richtigen Position ist.
And just to say, the voice of the owl sounds a bit robotic. It will be changed. This is just the prototype. But yeah, so these are the blades. You just attach them to this piece here. And if you don't get it right, then this is the sound that you will get. And then, yeah, it's a very, very much hands-on approach. And then, yes, I think we can move on a bit.
Und Windrichtung zu ändern, indem du ihn mit dem Pointer verschiebst.
Yes, once you've assembled this, you can actually then change the strength of the wind and also the direction of the wind. And by doing that, you will have different outcomes. So let's have a look at that and then fly up to the big turbine, just so that you get an idea. Yeah, you see how it gets faster or slower, and then also it explains all the physical ideas behind it. So it's a very nice combination of German and a STEM subject, and also, like I mentioned before, sustainability. So we will fly to the turbine again. And here you can do the same thing with the big turbine.
Unsere Mitarbeiter sind super mutig. Die Turbine einzuschalten, muss das ganze Team zusammenarbeiten. Lauf zu den Schaltern über die Planke und aktiviert die Turbine.
Yes, and this, I mean, here it looks like a film, so now you have to walk over a plank. If you've ever done virtual reality before, when you really do it, so when you have the goggles on, it's a totally different feeling. You really think you are in this situation, that you're standing there, that you really see the sea or the lake below, and it's a very real feeling. So here it looks obviously like a film, but if you really experience that it's a totally different feeling. I think Lorna can agree on that. So yes, I think this will basically be it for a short film. I think you get a quite nice idea. And as I mentioned before, every module is a bit different. But yeah, I think this is definitely a way how you can use new technology also in a languages classroom and introduce students to STEM topics and sustainability. So yes, very worthwhile doing and very exciting. I really like the flying part, and I like the flowers a lot. So I think that's quite motivating. Yes.
Yeah, I think we're really excited about the prospect of using VR in our lessons, and it's a technology that the Goethe Institute has invested in, and we're looking to roll out in schools in the coming year or so. Yes, so I've just got a couple more slides to show you. So I'm sure you can agree that there are many benefits to online projects, especially in a time when it's been a little bit difficult to get over to Germany. We've seen as one of the main benefits that our reach has been far greater than it would have been. So particularly for the youth mobility project, so the project that normally takes place in Schwäbisch Hall, which is the work shadowing project, owing to sort of financial constraints, but also time constraints. In normal years, we'd only be able to engage 20 young people in our work experience project. And last year, because of the online side of things, that increased to 56 students over the course of 4 weeks, rather than 20 over the course of 1 week. So we have more students accessing the programme. And we even had some children doing it from quarantine last October half term. So they were in self-isolation and were still able to engage with the project. So that was really fantastic. So that has also improved the access to the project and things like, people who wouldn't necessarily be able to engage with the project otherwise owing to health reasons or transport constraints have been able to work with us, which has been absolutely fantastic. We're also an institution that looks towards sustainability, and we found that these projects are more sustainable both in an ecological sense, but also in terms of finance and being able to reach a broader number of students. We've also been able to increase our reach of special guests in the week. So with the work experience project, for example, we've been able to engage people who are in America, or podcast guests who, or who they don't necessarily have to be based in Germany or the UK. It's been really fantastic to have more of an international outlook on things. And last but not least, the experience of working in an online environment is now invaluable. So being able to say on your CV that you've had a week of work experience in an online environment is actually something really worthwhile and fantastic, and a positive that's come out of the challenges that we've all faced over the last couple of years. And I think from our side, Simona, I think you'd agree that it's been really fantastic to be able to continue to work with young people.
Definitely,
yeah. So yeah, from our side, vielen Dank.
Danke schön.
And we'd like to open the floor up to any questions you might have. You can use them via the Q&A function below. And our contact details there if you would like to get in touch with us. I'll stop share so I can see the Q&A.
Maybe we can have a look in the meantime while we're waiting for questions to come up. Maybe we can have a look at the word cloud and what kind of ideas everybody had. Oh, there's a question here. Do you know of any similar initiatives for ESL students in the UK? Yeah, I don't know. I think VR is quite unique, I would say. I haven't come across anything also in a gamified way, especially. So I think that's pretty unique. Don't know about other digital projects. Lorna, have you come across any?
Not yet, no, but I'm sure I'll keep my ear to the ground. Yeah, it's something that's becoming more and more prominent. Yeah. So, and I think we would definitely encourage other institutions, particularly on the work experience side of things. The online work experience has been something that's been super popular. And it's been really fantastic to have, in the office, we couldn't accommodate 20 young people for a week, which would be quite a handful. But online, it seems, well, it works brilliantly. So that's been a real positive. We've got a question from Lorna. So how do students sign up for these initiatives? Well, so the work experience is communicated we do a call for applications, which is communicated via our social media channels and also via our newsletter for teachers, which you can sign up to on the website. I'll put the link in the chat later, perhaps. So for the work experience weeks, they would be asked to register a few months in advance. They'd send in an application, which in itself is a really worthwhile experience. They're asked to write kind of personal statement, sort of covering letter kind of thing. It's only, I think, 400 words, but still, if you're an A-level student, that's quite a challenge, writing that amount of text. And then we select students sort of based on a good spread across the country, which is really nice. It means it's nice for the young people as well, because they get to meet people. We've got students in Wales, Northern Ireland. It's been really fantastic. So keep an eye out on our newsletter things, and our so the virtual reality opportunities will also be communicated via the newsletter and website. Simona, I don't know if you've got anything to add there.
Yeah, the virtual reality boxes will be a bit different. So we will in fact send out those goggles. So we will have like a loan system in place then at some point. And then schools can actually book that. We will send out the boxes. You will send them back to us. So you will also let us know what kind of project you're interested in, or if it's the two projects. And then, yes, this will happen in the new year. So yeah, quite exciting times.
Yeah, and we definitely encourage you, to engage with these projects. We're always really delighted to hear from teachers. So yeah.
Right. So maybe we have a look at the word cloud so that we can share this with everybody as well. If there's
I can't see I'm not sure that there's been one entry which is virtual reality.
Okay, so that will probably be my test draw.
Yeah.
Maybe we could just share the link again and
ask
everybody to take part in this, because it would be really interesting also to see what kind of ideas you've got, what you think is still missing in terms of digital projects, online projects, work experience projects, just like basically anything. Yeah, so Lorna has shared the link once more. Basically, up to now, we have one entry, which is virtual reality. It was just to try whether the link worked. So we are, of course, keen to see what you think about that.
I've got a question from Sarah. Would we have a list of technology equipment required for these projects? So for the online work experience project, all students need is a laptop or even a phone with a good connection is absolutely fine. And Simona for the virtual reality equipment, so we would provide the goggles.
Yeah. It's quite advanced goggles that you need for, well, these projects. You can't use the cardboard ones, they wouldn't work properly. So it's quite high technology that we have here. And that's why we send them out, the goggles in a suitable box. And then also it has a Wi-Fi router that is included. So, and you would get a manual how to use this, how to set it up, who to contact if there's a problem. So yes, the schools wouldn't have to invest in any of the equipment.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. You know, we've tried the goggles here in the office, and yeah, it's very good fun. So I can definitely recommend. Yeah, it's also exciting from a STEM perspective. We've had a lot of science teachers who are very, very excited about the project. We've had science teachers on board, you know, giving feedback and that kind of thing, and trials with schools will be carried out soon. So yeah.
Yeah.
Just having a look at the Mentimeter. Do keep putting your answers in there. It'd be really helpful.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Lorna.
Yeah, so our email addresses are there. If you have any questions after the session that you want to discuss with us, feel free to drop us a quick line via the below. Yeah, and I hope that you or your students will be able to engage with some of our projects soon.
Yes, if you would like to subscribe to our newsletter, all the projects will always be listed, any opportunity that is coming up. So I think it's quite worthwhile. You can also join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Then you will also get all the exciting projects and how to participate in that as well. And yeah, if you have any ideas or any questions, just send us an email. And I think, yeah, if you haven't got any more questions, we would like to thank you very much for taking part in our talk. We hope you found this inspiring, and we would like to welcome you to join all these exciting and new projects very, very soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much from my side too. And if you'd like to register for the newsletter, just pop the link in the chat there. Feel free to sign up, and yeah, hope to see you soon via one of our projects.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very kind.